this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. So today I want to talk about the re-education of Black Americans. The prefix re in re-education means to do again. So we are re-educating or reinventing ourselves as Black Americans to give clarity to the meaning of who we are. We have said that African American speaks to ourselves and our ancestry. We are Americans, and African American is an American whose ancestors came to the Western Hemisphere by way of the transatlantic slave trade. Now, for some people, that's not enough. Now they want us to go back and tell where we came from in Africa. And if you can't give them a number, then you don't know where you came from. So we say we do know where we came from. We came from America. We are Americans. So anyway, it is incumbent upon us to be clear about who we are. And I really like the way young Black Americans are addressing this head on with other people, because they're trying to make you feel like you're lost because you can't go to some village in Africa and point to your ancestry. We are not Africans. And the reason I address this as an elder is because my generation is part of the problem. The generations that came before me really didn't come into contact with Africans. But it was in my generation who started saying we don't know where we came from in Africa. We didn't realize that was going to become a talking point for people who are Black but not American. So now we're having to go back and straighten it out. And now in the age of technology, with social media being what it is, these Africans and people for other people who don't know their history, who don't know our history, become authorities on Black Americans. So it is important to set people straight, to let them know where you come from. It'll take a while because this tale has been going around and around for quite some time. But the more you take the stand and say, I am an American, I'm not lost, I don't have a village in Africa that I came from, that part of our history is over. We are Americans. Now listen to how these young people are handling this.
The reason why Africans have this negative connotation on African Americans is because of the stereotypes, what they're seeing on TV. For an example, my mom, she's American. I don't know what part of Africa she was from. My dad, he's Ghanaian.
She's American, like.
But at the end of the day,
I don't know. They're American.
But,
you wouldn't say that to a Jamaican.
But they're African American, though.
Would you say a Jamaican don't know what part of Africa he's from?
Jamaicans are Caribbean, so they already have their own. Like,
would you say he don't know what part of Africa he's from?
But he know where he comes from. He comes from Jamaica.
Jamaica is from Jamaica, right?
Yes.
An American is from where?
An African American is from Africa and America.
And this is why that term is confusing, is which I hear people just say Black Americans now, because we try to do the right thing and at least acknowledge our ancestry. You don't see a Haitian saying I'm African Haitian or a Jamaican saying I'm African. We try to do the right thing and acknowledge our ancestry, and now it's being used. Well, what part? Like, no, just for that, we just Black Americans now. Like, fuck all that African American shit, bro. We Black Americans now.
So this conversation is serious to what I'm speaking about. I've played part of this video before. The first young lady that spoke said that the reason Africans have a negative connotation of Black Americans, of African Americans, she said, is because of stereotypes. Nobody is more stereotyped than Africans. Am I right about it? Nobody is more stereotyped than Africans. All that comes out of Africa for the world to see is poverty, disease, war, hunger. There has never been anything positive coming out of Africa. So if Black Americans were to believe everything that the stereotypes are, we would all have negative attitudes about Africa too, and about Africans. And the reality is, what that suggests to you is that you people are lazy, you're not innovative, you're not creative, and you don't know how to take care of yourselves. Those would be the stereotypes. And you reinforce those stereotypes by all of you running out from over there every chance you get by any means necessary. So it makes more sense for us to have stereotypes about Africans than for Africans to have stereotypes about us, given the fact that they're all trying to run over here where we are. They're trying to run to the white man's country, but this is our country too. And also, we're to believe that Africans have never heard anything positive about Black Americans. So therefore, you never heard of Dr. Martin Luther King or Malcolm X or Oprah Winfrey, who built a school in South Africa, or W.E.B. Du Bois, who died in Ghana, or Michael Jackson or Simone Biles or Beyonce. Never heard anything positive about Black Americans. That's not even believable to me. So those people just lie to justify the fact that deep down they really don't like Black Americans. For whatever reason, they don't like Black Americans. But Black Americans are known all over the world, from Muhammad Ali to Serena Williams to whoever is the reigning pop star at this time. So we'll just put it this way. Everybody has heard of the positiveness of Black Americans except Africans. And of all the things that are going on in their 54 countries, they have time to focus on Black Americans. A white man came on a videotape and said they don't have sense enough to govern themselves. That is the biggest insult that anybody could make towards a group of people, a whole continent of people. Black Americans saw that statement as racist. We didn't see that as him telling the truth. But apparently, anything somebody tells an African about Black Americans, they believe it, which means they know nothing about Black Americans, they know nothing about Black American history, they know nothing about white supremacy, and they have no critical thinking skills. So that's just X's out anything that any African would think about anybody. And every time I do a video like this, without fail, somebody, some African or Caribbean person is going to come on here talking about you need to travel. When I travel, and I do travel, I go with the goal in mind of learning something. I don't take my mindset to another environment and think that environment is supposed to shape itself to what I think. I go with the idea that I want to learn from that environment and from that experience. And that is something that these Black people who come to the United States don't have the ability to do. I'm going to say this again. You might be traveling, but it's not doing you any good because you still have the narrow-minded, low informational mindset that you had when you left that little crappy village you came from. Africans are not wanted anywhere, and it doesn't matter whether they come from north, south, east, or west. They are not wanted because those European countries say that they come in there, they don't assimilate, and that's a fact. They don't assimilate, and they are destroying their cultural identity because they want to come in and create a little Somalia or a little Nigeria or a little something other that they don't want. They don't want the Muslims from Syria, Afghanistan, Iran, and they don't want the Black people from the sub-Saharan African countries, and they don't want the ones from North Africa, the Horn of Africa, or any other African place because they don't know how to be guests in other people's country. And the European countries have gone to some extraordinary lengths to keep them out. I'm watching video after video after video now because I'm tracking this. Every country that they go to, people are trying to run them out. And the reason is because they don't have any manners. They don't understand other people's culture, and they think that they should bring whatever their culture is or whatever it is they're calling culture into other people's country. So this is important to the re-education of Black Americans because Black Americans need to understand there's nothing wrong with us calling ourselves African Americans because we knew why we were doing it. But because other people coming into this country don't have the depth of knowledge, they don't understand our experience and don't have any desire to understand it, then it's understandable that Black Americans would say, okay, we're just Black Americans. We are from America. We're not looking for anything in Africa because we haven't lost anything in Africa. Now, for me personally, that's sad because my ancestors did come to the Western Hemisphere via the transatlantic slave trade. And it would be nice if people would understand why we chose that identification and that they would respect it. But they don't have the ability to do that because who knows how they think. Maybe they think in an African mindset and we think in an American mindset. So maybe that's where the disconnect is. The young man said, we were calling ourselves African Americans because we were trying to do the right thing. We know that our ancestors came from Africa, so we were trying to give them that respect. But when you're dealing with low vibrational, small thinking people, you can't do that. They turned around and tried to make it something about us. Not even thinking on a high enough level to realize that we were trying to acknowledge our African ancestry and pay homage to our ancestors. They don't have the understanding to realize that that's what we were trying to do. I question the percentage of Africans who would leave and walk away from everything they have in Africa if they could come to the United States and take our place. Because they even talk about, we're going to replace you, we're going to replace you. Well, if you know where you came from and you're proud of where you came from, why would you want to replace somebody else? Why would you want somebody else's history? So in the end, we have to claim America. We are American born and bred. We are shaped by America. And America is our trademark. And it's really not a bad trademark. Irrespective of what any other Americans are or what they do, we are unique and we stand out. Check this out.
I'm telling y'all already.
But just like life. All right.
Air Jordan ready to take off.
Can I get an amen?
And welcome to the very first National Oprah Winfrey Show!
They say we're all we have. Well, we're all we need.